And then I had to wake up and realize one day, it's funny how you shade or you got so much negativity about what I'm pursuing or I'm doing, but in the background, you're taking copious notes and you're trying to do the same thing and just put your name on top of it. So being dope for me, I'm now entering into a place or a phase of I'm going to be dope and you're just going to have to accept it. I don't apologize for it.
Right.
And so it's kind of like, I get what you're saying about being humble. And you talk about, I think about Kendrick Lamar's song, be humble,
right.
Sit down, be humble. But the thing about being humble, we get confused. We think being humble means that we don't talk about.
Right, and we be quiet or we sit down or we put on mute, and that's not it. I'm saying don't get the big head before you've achieved every level. Make sure that you're going through the process and not tearing people down or making people feel like, oh, I got this, so now I'm better than you. No, I've just met one of my goals on my vision board, and now I need to knock something else off.
And what's funny is you say that in my mind, there's a devil advocate about what is really what is really being humble like. We in the African American culture have painted a picture of being humble as in the church, and we don't really talk about what we do and what we accomplish, and we don't acknowledge, success. Mm-hmm. And so therefore we don't have the confidence about our success. And I believe that I, had a misconception about what being humble is all about. Mm-hmm. I thought being humble was don't say anything or tell people about your success or your plans or your actions and your achievements. I always thought, oh, well, why would you do that? But as I have entered into the career world and entered into life period, you have to, it's funny. I was reading the scripture yesterday. A workman is worth his hire. And so when you invest or when you've done some work, you have blazed the trail, you have overcome some stuff, you have done the work, then you should be applauded and celebrated for the work that you did. You know what I'm saying?
I get sick of that too. Like I'm with you 100% because a lot of times we'll sit back and let other people wait for us to validate us on our accomplishments when they didn't do a damn thing in the process.
Right.
Not one thing. They didn't go through the classes. They didn't achieve the degree. They didn't go through and get the business loan. They didn't do any of that. And so it's just very, very important for us to know that, like you said, our worth, and then to celebrate ourselves, and it's okay to say, I accomplished this. Now, what am I going to take on next? Because now that I got this, that's the next level. I got to go somewhere else because that's not good enough for somebody who's dope to stay right there.
Right. And it's and what you said was so profound because people that keep pursuing, it's like there's that addiction to the reward to overcome, and so there comes a point where you have to begin to really acknowledge, hey, I did this.
Right.
I did that. And like you talked about the whole validation piece, that's a dopamine. That's a neurotransmitter of a reward. You want the reward of people to validate what you have done in life. When in reality, your achievements should be that. So I have this phrase I say to myself, and I said it to a couple other friends. It's, I don't need validation. I don't need validation for the simple fact I look back over my life and the stuff that I went through and overcame was my self-validation. So all you can do to validate me is my parking ticket. That's only validation I need.
Hello.
That's it. Because when I think about, and you think about it for a second, all the stuff that you overcame.
I didn't even got enough time to even, yes. And I don't really, I think people think because if you look a certain way or you sound a certain way or you've achieved a couple of things that you've never been through nothing. But to me, you don't have to look like what you've been through.
Right.
I feel like the best analogy is every person wears clothes, thank God. Or in some countries they don't have to. But when you turn your clothes inside out, you see all the seams and stitches. Mm-hmm. But when you turn it back inside, back to the regular way, it looks like a flawless, item. Mm-hmm. Well, that's just like with life. When you're going through stuff, trials and tribulations and stuff like that, there may be some ripped seams and stuff like that. There may be some patches. But when it's all finished and done and you flip that thing around, it's a perfect work because every situation made it to where you are now or what you are to become. So it's just like being dope is something that you have to know you're going to get knocked down.
Right.
You're going to have to get knocked down. You're going to have to learn, and you have to learn some strategies, and you have to get back up. That's the main point. You cannot stay down when you're pursuing something.
Right.
Even if you get trampled on.
Right. And being and that's what the thing of the most important thing about being dope is that you can not stay stuck in one place.
Right.
So then here again, one of the symptoms of low dopamine is that there's lack of movement.
Is that the red light?
There's lack of movement, and you get stuck. You get stuck at disappointment. You get stuck at success. You get stuck at failure. And I think one of our challenges is we are afraid to succeed.
I agree with that, Ryan, because, oh boy, what's around the corner? If I get this, if I win, if I meet this goal, it may bring a little bit too much light to me. But then why go after it then?
Right.
Because if you go after something, your light is going to shine brighter.
Right.
That was the whole purpose of you going to school. That's the whole purpose of you getting the nice job or building the home from ground up. That was the goal, to say, I got the keys or I got the promotion. I mean,
right.
Don't let that stop you. And I'm telling you, I love my family, but the number one haters. And they'll try to stop you and say, that's crazy. I'd never pay that. I'd never pay that amount for this pastry. Well, it's not for you. There's a market for everybody, and you go ahead, because every one of y'all can cook. Go ahead and make your own thing. That's great. Not knocking you, but this is what I'm doing.
Right.
And if you're going to rock with me, it's an invoice attached. Right. So no matter if it's dog, cat, goldfish, or parent, you can invoice. And so it's something that you have to have a standard, a level of standards too, to be dope. You have to maintain, because if you're constantly trying to waver to fit and to conform into everybody else, you're not being dope. You're just trying to fit in. And people are dope don't fit in.
People are dope don't fit in, and they're not willing to settle.
Right.
So you won't settle for less. One of the other things that I have to say is that dope people are not afraid of failure. Why? Because failures are the stepping stones to success.
Every time.
So if I fail, when you think about the people that are dope, that, Jay-Z, J.K. Rowling, Oprah, Bill Gates, look at Steve Jobs, the beloved Steve Jobs, Apple, who now today says he can do no wrong. He was the most amazing person in the world. But 20 years before, when they fired him twice, it at that time. And so you have to be dope, you have to know that being dope comes with some bull. Some BS. Is going to come with some,
yes, sir.
some failures. It's going to be either big failures, little failures, but it's going to come with a lot of disappointments and setbacks and how to coulda, wouldas, and shouldas.
Oh yeah, I've cried a lot of nights. I've burned a lot of stuff. I just feel like when you learn, like you said, from your failures. But then something about saying, okay, now I have a strategy of how I can make it better. And if you're going to be dope, you have to move quick. You can't stay in the same place. Like I said, don't stop. Don't be stagnant. But when you fall, get back up, learn from that fall, make some strategies, keep it moving, and then make sure you're going in the right direction of still reaching and obtaining your goals. You have to do it. And somebody's waiting for you to win.
Right.
That's the end of it. Someone is waiting for you to win and reach your goals. Even if it's to say you did a great job. I saw all the hell that you went through, and man, you deserve this. There is somebody really waiting, a whole crowd of people, but we think about that one person or those couple people over there that have said, oh, wow, just hang in there. But no, there's really a whole crowd of celebration waiting for you to say, I'm so glad you did it.
The one person I'm looking for on the other side of that, it's funny you said it, because I think about that crowd, and the person that I'm eagerly anticipating to see on the other side of the crowd that's waiting for me is my future B. Because what happens sometimes, we find ourselves comparing ourselves, because I do it all the time. I struggle with it, especially on social media and other platforms. I'm looking like, oh my God, they're doing this, they're doing that, and they do this. And so then there's a drive, and then I have to remind myself to say that I'm only competing with the future me. That's the one that matters.
Right.
You know, and that's that whole validation piece, is that when you're dope, you don't need the validation, because the validation is, again, your achievements.
Right.
You know, and so I think about being dope. I think about being purpose-driven. Just being excited. You know, being dope, when you think about it in the streets terms, is that if I'm dope, I'm what everybody else wants.
That's right. Fresh.
And if I'm dope and if everybody else wants that, then I got to continue to stay above and maintain that, you know? And so it's like, what are dope fiends looking for? Dope to get high.
That's right. And they waiting faithfully.
Right.
They're waiting faithfully for the new, what's the funniest part of Friday? I love Friday, every last one, but when Mike Epps throws the cookie down on the windshield and says, here you go, here's this cookie straight up from commissary. Like, you know, it's got all these good snacks with glitter and all that stuff like that. You know, he was, you know, basically making fun at her about throwing this cookie down, but he knew exactly what she wanted, what she needed to get him off. Get her off of him. So as Mike Epps is, you know, teasing her with this cookie and everything, it's just like he's meeting the need of what she's seeking to, because she's chasing around this car. And I'm thinking about, that's my dreams, my aspirations, chasing me around this car to get me to move. It motivated him to get up, because this lady, you know, was larger than him, stronger than him, could beat him down faster than him. And if you think about your dreams, your goals, and aspirations, you can't let them beat you down. You have to conquer them. You have to go for them. You have to hit them back with the obstacles back with, you know, the left hooks and the right hooks, the uppercuts or whatever, to let your presence be known. I'm not going nowhere. As many times I get knocked down, I'm going to get back up. And that is like, that has to be the drive. That has to be your whole function of being dope. You know, I'm thankful to have a lot of people. I think you're really dope, Brian. I just want to tell you that.
Oh, thank you.
You know, I am sweet at least once a week, and so today was your lucky day.
It's my day to be dope.
No, every day you are. I mean, even from approaching, you know, and telling me about this opportunity, it takes a dope person to say, "Hey, I see what you got. Let's do something with it."
Listen, and when we first started out, I had no real vision. I had no real clue. I just knew being unstoppable was it, and I got to share it with the world. Like how, what format, yada yada yada. And as we're taking shape, you know, I'm realizing we're dope.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We are, you know, and in order to pursue your dreams, you got to be dope. You got to be determined. You got to be an overcomer. You got to be just willing to do whatever it takes.
Do whatever it takes. That's
not
it.
stopping. Being willing to overcome.
That's it. So you guys, I know that you guys have been enjoying this, and just to let you know that we're going to continue this series with I'm Dope, because we ultimately want to have a full weekend conference. That's what our goal is, because we all are around so many dope people, men, women, children, doesn't matter what age demographic that they're in, that have accomplished so many great things. And we want to celebrate our listeners. We want to celebrate the people in our community. And that is our goal for this event. That's coming up, and we'll give you all the details down the road, but definitely be on the lookout for the hashtag I'm Dope. We want you to use that when we tag and listen to this episode that comes up, tag I'm Dope. And we are so excited. Crumble moment of today. The final moment of this segment is that in order for you to be dope, remember that you have to be determined, you have to be an overcomer, you have to be persistent, and you have to have endurance. And this is your time to be dope. Don't let nothing stop you. Stay on the pursuit of your dreams, your aspirations, and goals. So again, always thank you for tuning in to Real Talk with Cookie. Thank you for tuning in to Real Talk with Cookie, where real issues crumble. We look forward to you joining us every week on the Be Unstoppable podcast channel.